It's Friday morning. We've got a couple of days to go before the first of these climate sessions. When I brought together our three main guests for a call a couple of weeks ago, one of them asked a question. How deep are we prepared to go? And as I've been preparing for these sessions, I've been thinking about depth. Because when I was in my 20s, I think I thought depth was all about grandeur and drama and emotional intensity and thunder and lightning. And the stronger the feelings you were having, the more real everything was. And as I've got older, I've learned that depth can be about quietness and gentleness, attentiveness. And I think that's the quality of depth that I would wish for us to have in our gatherings as a group and in your small gatherings over the weeks to come. And with that in mind, I found myself coming back to a story from Martin Shaw, from a book that he published a couple of years ago, a book called The Night Wages, which is about a father and daughter making a magical journey together across the sea, and they meet many different characters from many worlds, many cultures and traditions, and they hear many different stories. But there's one little story that has stuck with me, and somehow I think it speaks to what we're gathered around here. So I want to read it to you. It's a Jewish story. It's called The Holy Couple. The Baal Shem Tov gathered his inner circle of disciples together. Next Sabbath, I'm going to show you what Sabbath really is. A great excitement moved through them, and they prepared with highest care, bathing themselves in the mikveh, the ritual pool, changing into their special clothes and turning up extra early at the synagogue. To their disappointment, they didn't notice anything particularly auspicious, just a very plain-looking Jewish man at the back praying with delight and joy. Psh, hardly a burning bush. They felt let down. But afterwards, the Baal Shem Tov gathered his disciples in his study, where they could peer down on the ramshackle little house that the poor man lived in. The little man entered. "Good Shabbos, my sweet wife," he said joyously. "And a restful and holy Shabbos to you, my dearest husband," his wife responded. A moment or two later, the gathered students heard the husband and wife singing Shalom Aleichem together, the words moving out gladly into the dark. When they had finished, the husband said to his wife, "Sweetheart, let us make Kiddush." But such was their poverty that they had no money for wine, so the wife placed 2 tiny rolls on the table, and they made Kiddush over them. Then the wife spoke, "And for the fish course I have something very special." She stood and brought a small platter of beans to the Shabbos table. They made prayer, ate a spoonful of their humble repast, and their faces shone with delight. The poor man sang some of the old songs, and then it was time for the soup course. They took another spoon of beans and smiled at each other. What wonderful Sabbath soup," they remarked. They took a third spoonful in the place of the meat, and the fourth, the dessert. In great merriment, the poor man spoke. "Come, my sweetest one, let us dance to celebrate the holy Shabbos." And so they both got up and began to dance about their Shabbos table, laughing and laughing with joy. At that moment, in the dark of the study, each of the disciples felt an immense happiness rise within their hearts. And the Baal Shem Tov whispered, "You are experiencing Sabbath's joy, so close to the joy this holy couple are experiencing. You should know that it was not simple food they tasted, but the Sabbath itself." And so it was. It's not a story that comes from the tradition that I grew up in. We'll hear many stories from different traditions and parts of the world, I'm sure, over the weeks ahead. But there's something about this one that speaks to me about what is likely to be called for in the times to come. I don't know how it's all going to play out. None of us does exactly. We know enough to have good grounds to fear about what the future holds. And yet there are things that we will have to recover, rediscover, reinvent along the way. And there's something in this story that sticks with me when I think about what that might look like. And it sticks with the characters in the book as well. A couple of pages later, the old man says to the girl, the daughter, "Deep inside you, a poor man and his wife dance around the Sabbath table, their faces shining with the wealth that cannot be counted. In their travels, the father and daughter will hear stories of such grandeur they will be speechless and sometimes ecstatic. But they will never shake off the story of the poor man and his wife. It will be with them forever." So I wish you some of that gentle deepening today and in the times that we will spend together over the weeks ahead. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday.